At kaudikitiuhan gonalchish hati adi nilatoga aya ka shaksani kik. We have a good day lined up for today, so let's get started. So welcome back. In the mix for today, we'll have a discussion about names, open it up for questions and answers. We'll be getting into introductions starting today. So we want to answer any questions you have and just have a safe, open space conversation. And then, like I said, we'll get started on introductions. We'll be doing this 2 lines at a time so that folks can really practice them, practice your pronunciation, start memorizing it, and work on it 2 lines at a time. And then we'll do some practice, review vowels, and homework. So getting into our discussion, a few things we wanted to mention as far as introductions and names go are that we all come from different backgrounds and different families. And so sometimes some of us are adopted. And so when it comes to our introductions, how do we identify? And mostly what we wanted to share is that this is your introduction. It's not something that we can dictate to you. So you need to do it the way that you feel like it. And we're here to offer guidance and answer questions. So do folks have any questions so far right off the bat? Did you have anything else to add about advice?
Are there any questions? Okay. We went to the breakout rooms on last Thursday, and it was good to hear individuals, which is something I missed because of not being in a face-to-face classroom. So one thing that I want to mention that's easy to get into a habit of doing something wrong is the word for yes. It's double A and then a single A with a tone mark. So watch the tone marks. So if you say it's like you're thinking about what to say, but the word actually is your voice goes up on the last A. So, and it's a cheerful word. So make that as cheerful. I guess you can think of it that way. And just make sure you get that tone mark on that last A. And someone else asked about how to say goodbye. And I thought we would wait till we finished knock knock, and then I thought about it again. So I think it won't hurt anything if we learn it now. We don't say goodbye, but we say I'll see you later. So if you want to write this down, first word, TSU. Next word, YEI. And then the last word is really a brain buster. So listen carefully, it's a long word. It's an I-K, regular English K. then add another K underlined. W, A, single A, S, another A, single A, T, double E, N. Put a tone mark on the first E. I think there's a tone mark on YEI on the first E. So yay plus a team. So let's do the last word, kind of broken up. So you don't have to say it out loud, but
Equasatin.
Satin,
Satin.
Equasatin.
Equasatin. Equasatin.
Quasatine.
To the TSU is to you to yay equasatin. To yay
Yay,
equasatin.
equasatin.
Okay, then say the whole thing. To yay equasatin. To yay equasatin.
To yay, equasatin.
To yay.
Quasatine.
Yeah, that sounds good. So you can start using that. That means I will see you again. So just remember the tone marks because it's quite a positive sounding phrase. And that means I'll see you again. Are there any comments or questions?
If folks have questions, you can use the raise hand feature. You can unmute your mic and ask, and then you can also post in the chat. Oops. See people taking notes. That's good.
Would you mind doing the just the difference between the two ah and ah again, just so I can kind of hear those?
Yeah, if you don't do the tone mark on that 3 A's, it's ah. But if you do the tone mark on the last A, it's ah. Your voice goes up on the last A. Ah.
Ah, oh, Raymond, yes, did you have a question?
Hi, yes. On the last week's sentence, on the yes, I came yesterday. Could you break that down for us, the word?
Mm-hmm. Which one would you like us to break down? Oh, you're muted, yes.
On the last sentence, wait, can you hear me now?
The last one.
Yes, yes, I came yesterday.
Did you hear what he said?
No.
You're coming through a little bit muffled, sorry.
Okay, so I just turned my Bluetooth off. Is that better?
Yeah, way better.
Okay. On the last sentence from last week, where it's yes, I came yesterday. Could you break that down per word?
Okay. You say to say yes, and then there's a pause, and you say tatke, which means yesterday. Tatke. Hot, H-A-A-T, hot. Hohwatin. Hot, hohwatin. Tatke, yesterday. Hot, hohwatin, I came.
Hatke, hat, tin.
All right, goodness, geez.
Ah, any more questions about our new phrases or anything around names or introductions? If not, let's move right along to our first two lines of our introduction.
Okay, it's actually a self-introduction. You're introducing yourself. So for that, you can talk about your mother's nationality, your father's nationality. But the way I picked it is to try to introduce you to some of the more difficult letters. So the first two lines is to say Dleit, D-L-E-I-T, K underline double A, Dleit. And then the next word, Einach, it's X underline pinched. It's enough to fracture your tongue. X underline pinched, E-I, N A-X underline. Dleit, Einach, Dleit, Einach. The X underline pinched is totally in the back of your mouth, not in your throat. Squeeze the back of your tongue up to the roof of your mouth for that, and squeeze it so that it gets, yeah. And to get that sound, underline X. It's a gargled letter. You gargle like you've got something in the back of your throat. And then it's and then a blank where you fill in your English name. And the next word, yay, Y-E-I. Hot. Next word, X underline A-T. Last word, WASAA KW.
So mine would go. Late ka einach Anna yechat duasa.
The W at the end of the word is not a word, it's just a letter to show that you purse your lips around the K. So it's a sa,
Sa
sa. Sometimes you get into the habit of saying saku. There's no word there. It's the W is basically there just to have you purse your lips around the K. You hot to a sa. And don't switch the W to the front of the K because then I've heard people say sauk. So don't get that mixed up. It's SAAKW. So. So I hope you're watching my mouth when I say that. Plate ka. It's actually plate is white. Ka is man. Einach, in the white man's words, my name is Shirley. Plate ka einach, Shirley. You got to assault. You can put a tone mark on the what's the next word? You.
you
Is
chat.
it? Yeah. Why you? Tone mark on the you. Oh wait, it's two O's. You. Let me get this straight here.
Mhm.
Aina. It's X underline pinched. EINAX underline. Then you fill in the blank. YOO. And it's got a tone mark on the first O.
Mhm.
You
You
underline XAT. And the last word, DU. WASAAKW. It's not as hard as you think. It'll just roll off your tongue when you're doing it. So don't be worried.
Mhm.
It's fairly easy because actually the introduction, your personal introduction takes only about 30 seconds and everybody gets so scared about doing it, but it's not very long.
Mhm.
Did you get that all written down? If so, then we can go to the second line. You know how to spell Lingit, right? Lingit. Lingit.
Lingit.
Einach. X underlined, pinched. YINAX underlined. And if you're not Lingit, or that you didn't pick a name that's Lingit for the class, you can say whatever language you, because we want you to keep your identity. We don't want to take that away from you.
Mhm.
So if you're Athabascan or Yupik or a different tribe, or even from Native American, you can still keep your identity by saying your name in that from that language.
Mhm. Yeah, so mine would be Gonana Reinach, because my name is Athabascan.
Are there any questions or comments?
Hi, Shirley. Do you mind just saying both phrases again for us?
Okay. I'm kind of waiting to make sure everybody has it written down. So the first line is Gleitcha Enach, surely you Hatuasa. Gleitcha Enach, surely you Hatuasa. Lingit Enach, Shaksani Kik, you Hatuasa. Gleitcha Enach, surely you Hatuasa. Lingit Enach, Shaksani Kik, you Hatuasa.
Askatuyak Shah, did you have a question?
Yeah, I can't remember the pinch. How would you describe that again when there's a pinch, and where, how is
Yeah,
it different than when there's not a pinch?
you use an apostrophe.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll see it in Reinach, and like Shiksani Kik said, you'll see an apostrophe after the letter that shows you that it's pinched. And to make that sound, how would you describe that? You kind of like squeezing the sound out.
Yeah, you can close your, it works a lot of times if you just close your teeth on the letter. Yeah.
Reinach. Whereas you'll see the second underline X is not pinched. So that one just sort of, you breathe it out. Reinach.
The second underlined letter is always in your throat. Back of your throat. And make sure you feel it in your throat when you say it. It's like trying to spit something out of your throat or gargle, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm,
gargle letter. That's what my students used to call it.
mhm.
It's a gargle letter.
Yeah.
So, einach.
Enough. That's a good question. Are there any more questions?
Or comments.
Edna?
Quick question. Seems to be a difference between the apostrophe or pinched and the slanted line over the diagonal line over the vowel. So one is the pinched and one is high tone. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. The slanted mark on the vowels is only on vowels, doesn't appear anywhere else. So that's the one you need to watch for. The pinch appears in usually on the consonants, K's and T's and S. So I usually say that if you just close your teeth on a lot of them, the down how is called the letters, the pinched letters, squeaky.
Mm.
And it is something you have totally control it in your mouth. So when you run across something that's underlined and pinched, that makes it harder because the underlined letter is supposed to be in your throat and the pinched letter is supposed to be in your mouth. So how do you do it? It's like, okay, now, so it's like squeezing the back of your throat. I think that's why they have it underlined. You squeeze it out real tight. Enough.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. Chief. Jura, did you have a question as well?
Yes, it's an observation, but I think Shirley can let me know if I'm correct in what I'm thinking. And thank you very much for your teaching today, Shirley. I was writing this down, and I realized as we were going through the translation that the language phrase, when it's translated, the sentence is reversed. For example, if I introduced myself in my first language, I would say Shira Denke Enoch. So it would be the way it's written, but in English, it would translate into, in the people's way, I'm called Shirley. So the name is in the back of the sentence as opposed to the front or the middle. Is that right? Is that what I'm seeing?
Are you saying that it sounds backwards?
Well, in English,
Yeah.
the sentence is backwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too confusing. It's the English language that's
Yeah.
different because if in Tlingit you would say in English, you would say, I ate an orange.
Mhm.
And Lingit, you would say, angesprochen.
Mhm.
So right away you can tell that it's
Okay.
written. Yeah.
That really makes a lot of sense to me because I can't remember who asked the question earlier about breaking down one of the phrases, and that's what I thought. Well, it's exactly the same as English is for, it seems like every language. It's reversed and it's kind of confusing. So that's what I was struggling with for a minute there. But thank you. And then, of course, because in our language, we don't say Southern Shoshone, we use our own name for ourselves. So I'm putting that in there and creating more of a complex sentence structure for myself. But I'm really learning a lot. And I'm just so grateful for you and your teaching, Shirley. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I know it when I was teaching in high school, the students used to say, all these phrases are backwards. And I used to tell them, I think English is the only one that's backwards because most languages are the same structure
Mhm.
as our language. So it's so when you think with your English brain and say, hey, that's confusing because I'm not saying it right because it instead of saying I ate an orange, I say orange I ate.
Mhm.
Is what it is. So, but it's something that you get used to doing, and just keep in mind because and thank you for thinking about it because it is a question that comes up most of the time.
Mhm.
You're not the only one.
Mhm.
So should we go back to the introduction again
Mhm.
and go over that? How much time do we have?
It's 12:33.
Okay, we have a lot of time.
Yeah.
I want to go over the introduction. It's self-introduction is what it is. And so keep that in mind and make sure you use or ask us about the words that you want to use. So first line, surely okay. There's some students tend to pinch that K. There's no pinch, it's just a regular K. And you hear do a sock. So that's not, it's not there.
Mhm.
So don't say it. Leitcha enach, surely you do a sock. Lingit enach, shaksani kik, you do a sock. So please be sure to tune into the recording so you can hear it as many times as you need to say those two lines. It'll actually get easier. And it's not a very long introduction. So usually I want to have my students memorize their introduction by December. But since we got such a late start, I will allow when we get the phrase completed for you to use your notes to do your introduction. For the breakout room, did we finish everything?
So next we would do, let's see, pronunciation review of vowels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did the pronunciation.
Hmm.
I hope that everyone has been studying their vowels so that it just really, you naturally get the tone mark in the right place if you need it, or say the right letter. You get that single letter A, single letter I, single letter E, single letter U. So make it nice and short to be able to get it right. Are there any difficulties or questions on the vowels? So far in class, I can hear that everybody is able to do the letters, the vowels the way I want to hear it.
A, E, U, O, U, O.
Do you have a question or comment?
Yes, what is under the long U underlined? How is that pronounced?
Yeah, this is a screenshot from the beginning Lingit workbook by René. And he included under the double O a sound that you'll hear in the interior. And for example, in the clan Kokitan, it's kind of like an O sound.
Oh,
Yeah. So when you see the, the double O with an underline, that's why, that's how he indicated that sound.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's we don't have a single letter O, and I tell the students that, and then here comes the gonna cheese ho ho, which is H-O, ho ho. And the only explanation I have with that is it's a borrowed words. It has come to change. When I was growing up, ho ho meant very much, thank you very much. Thank you, ho ho. But it has begun to change, and it's acceptable for when you say thank you and somebody says ho ho, it means you're welcome. So I think that's great. I accept it because languages change, and if they don't change, it's not growing. We need to keep the language alive and keep it growing. So we can accept the changes that are new, and it has come to be quite an acceptable phrase. But just be aware that we don't have a single O, so it's a borrowed phrase.
Okay. How do folks feel about the vowels? Do you have any more questions on them?
one of the really well-known words are, and even the kids know it, is gook.
Mhm,
Hurry up, hurry up,
mhm.
gook, gook. And it's G-O-O-K. I think it has a tone mark, gook. That means hurry. So if your mom says gook, and you don't hurry, then they say gook day. When they add that day, you better watch out because they're getting tired of waiting for you. My grandmother was trying to get out of the house, and she was telling her grandson, come on, gook, gook, gook. He said, so the kid says, Grandma, I am cooking day. So it's a phrase that everybody knows. And another one is that chook, and it's something you can say to kids. You can't say it to an adult or pets. I think all our pets when I was growing up understood only Lingit. Thanks to my mom.
How do you spell joke?
Juk is J-O-O-K. Juk, juk, juk. J-O-O-K.
Oops.
It sounds like a tone mark there. Juk.
Klinken. Klimax. Als ik het weer ga. U. Doe een zag. Doe een zag.
Even though we don't have breakout rooms today, should we have some practice for these lines?
Yeah, I want to introduce the next two lines for their breakout room. For your knock knock. So get your pencils out, your ink pens working. Get your bifocals.
That's me.
We got the person knocking and then introduce themselves and they say, come on in. And then we said, surprise, you're here. And yes, I came yesterday. So the next two lines, if you want to write this down, is Yesu, Y-E-I-S-U, tone mark on you, Yesu. Ge, next word, ge, G-E with a tone mark. Siku, S-I-K-O-O. Last word, Lingit. Yesu, ge, Siku, Lingit. Do you still know Tlingit? The question mark is on the ge. Yesu, ge, Siku, Lingit. And here's a 3-letter A again. Double A and a single A with a tone mark. Ah,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
ah.
Uh-huh.
The old people, for some reason, I'm not really sure why, just a way of uh, either hearing something or trying to say a letter that they're not used to, because they didn't have an L. We didn't have an L sound. So school, the L would turn into an N. So instead of school, it comes out schoon. SGOON. X pinched.
School. School. School.
No, it's not in your
School.
throat, it's in your mouth. Schoon, schoon. Squeeze it. Squeeze your tongue up to your top ear. Yeah, there you go. Schoon. A schoon is the word for school. You add the X, it tells you that where you're learning it from. Schoon. Ha. Next word. X underline AA. Ha. There you go. That's a good one. Ha. Schoon. Ha. Last word. DUL. TOOW. Tone mark on the first O. So what that means is, yes, they're teaching me at school. Just two.
Two.
Ha. Ha. The X underline. Ha. Just two.
Two.
There you go.
Two.
Sounds good.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was not muted this whole time.
So it's yes, they're teaching me at school. So the question was, do you still know Tlingit? And you say, yes, they're teaching me at school. And you notice that schoon comes first instead of last. Any comments or questions?
Do you say both lines again?
Which one?
Yesuke siku Lingit. And
Oh, okay.
next one.
The first line is not too hard. At least there's no hard letters. Yesuke siku Lingit. You do well if you say all the letters. Isuke siku Lingit.
Isuga siku Lingit.
The answer is Schoon fathers too. Do you have a tone mark on the schoon? The double O. Schoon. And X pinched. Somebody's teaching you where at the school. So there's two. Make sure you remember there's a W there at the end of the word. So you need, in order to sound right, you need to purse your lips at the very end. Don't say "w" or anything. It's not a word, it's just a letter to show what you need to do with your lips. Ha, there's two.
Ha, there's two.
Where are they teaching you? Schoon. Ha, there's two. Eisuke siku Lingit. Eisuke siku Lingit. Schoon ha, there's two. How much time do we have?
It's 12:53. Should we practice the whole thing for them?
Yeah.
Okay. Knock knock.
Do so.
Nila Torah Aya.
Nice go.
When do you say how?
Oh, hot clear tin.
Tatge hat Kroatin.
So your turn.
Oh. Yesuga siku Lingit.
Schoon hatters two.
Any questions on that, folks, before we talk about the homework? Okay, so for homework, continue to practice the first two lines of your introduction. Let me put them in the
Personal
chat.
introduction.
Yeah, personal self-introduction. So I'll put these in the chat for you. Okay. So I just pasted those first two lines of your personal introduction in the chat. And then please go ahead and review these recordings so that you can practice your pronunciation. Normally we would drill these in class, but since we're a pretty large group, We're going to kind of adapt by working in the breakout rooms personally with you, and then also relying on you to go ahead and review these recordings. So those are posted usually within a few days after class onto the Lingit and Haida YouTube channel. I'll add them to our class website as well, just so that they'll be a little more accessible. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. On Thursday, we'll do breakout rooms and practice our knock-knock dialogue.
Did you get the schedule for November?
So for folks who haven't seen it yet, we planned out our whole lesson plans for November, and I added them to our class website. And so it'll be right on the main page of our class. As soon as you click Lingit Tangi to our fall course, you'll first see the October schedule. And if you scroll down, you'll see November. And one thing I'd like to point out is that since November 24th will be a holiday, folks can plan to spend that time with their families without having to jump into class, because we will take a break for the holiday. So we'll make sure you have time to spend with your families.
Yeah, that's a Thursday, and then on a Tuesday, you can just relax. We're gonna have story time. And I do that because I realize some people start traveling to family for Thanksgiving. So just relax and have a story time. Yeah. On the 22nd.
Would it be possible to color code the conversation so we know how it flows?
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh.
So, okay. If I understand correctly, you're talking about in the dialogue color coding per person.
Ah.
Okay. Yep, I'll do that. Sheesh.
Sheesh.
That would help to figure out who speaks next.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sit there and stare at each other.
Also, yeesh the just to cut you on. You guys are all awesome. Good sheesh.
How's that look for folks looking at the color coding? Seeing some head nods. All right, some thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Tsiek Kwasatin.
Tsiek Kwasatin.
Yay, Kwasatin.
Cheese.
Nice cheese.
Ganashish. Suye Kwasatin.
Suye Ikwasatin Kunachish.
Suye Ikwasatin Kunachish.